This has got to be probably one of the most unique Transformer toys I have ever taken a look at. In terms of just like something that's an exclusive, something that seems like interesting, but at the same time, like I'm not 100% sure if this is for me or who this is for. Now, when it comes to a lot of Transformer figures or just Transformer characters, there's what you call like the big three for like the Autobots and the big three for like the Decepticons. And so like, you have maybe not even just like for like Autobots, Decepticons, but it's more like you have Optimus Prime, he always sells. You have Megatron, he always sells. You have Soundwave, he always sells. You have Bumblebee, he always sells. And then you have the Seeker molds. The Seekers generally sell, usually Starscream, Thundercracker, Skywarp, anything beyond that. Ironhide usually is another one, but now we're like Ironhide and Ratchet are usually ones that sell out pretty quickly. I'm talking about Transformer characters that generally are sold out and generally really hard to get once they are released. And that's either if it's like studio series, if it's third party, those are the bread and butter. Like, especially those in the third party community are always like, oh, here's another Optimus. Even Takara has released another Optimus recently, which I haven't taken a look at, but I'm not going to get. I'm not interested in paying $200 for an Optimus Prime that's inferior even to the one that was released several years ago, which again, okay, P44, it's $400 plus it's more now. You're paying the late tax now, but I mean, yes, it does come with a trailer and all that, and the transformation looks like it's a nightmare, but it looked like it was fun. I mean, I like transformations like that. But that being said, as you've been looking on the screen here, we have something called Transformers Spotlight Optimus Prime. And when I was kind of like doing some research and looking at like what should the next thing I should talk about, should I look at some third party? Is there anything that I wanted to look a bit more at like Hasbro and what Hasbro's doing, because Hasbro is again the price hike that they did last year, and I understand they did it because of the tariffs. And as far as I know, the tariff situation has been taken care of. Like, I'm not going to get like into the details about the tariffs and all like that because I'm not educated completely on it, and I've heard different things, so I'm not 100% sure on like what's true, what's not. But I'm under the impression that tariffs are not really a thing right now. Like, companies are not paying those tariffs. They're not the absurd prices they were last year where they had to raise prices, or like some companies like BTS and I think TF Source actually added an additional like tariff fee, which I think was probably the best way to do it, because then the prices are like, oh, if it's an $85 figure, it's $85, but you have to pay an additional $8 tariff fee, and then you have to pay an additional like $12 shipping or whatever the shipping is. So you're paying $8 more. And once the tariffs go away, or the company can like, oh, we don't have to pay that extra fee anymore, that fee is going to go away. You're not going to be paying that $8 anymore, or $10 or whatever it is. But Hasbro decided to bake it into their base price. And so now deluxes went from $19 like 5 years ago to $24 a couple years ago to now $27. And I'm out. And I think I've said this a couple times already. I'm out. I'm not getting like the Age of the Primes Brawn and Blast Off and like Onslaught. And I got the Vortex, but that was when it was 24. But I'm out. And even like the Hound, like if I don't get it, I don't care. Like if I don't see it, it's not like I don't care. Even same thing with like Wheeljack. I don't care. Like in terms of the studio series, like 86 line, I'm done. I've collected the majority of the characters that I wanted. I mean, yeah, sure, maybe some characters like, I have like Kingdom versions of Rodimus Prime and Cyclonus and Galvatron. And I know they did release a updated, studio series Deco colored 86 Galvatron. Don't care. I heard there's going to probably release a Skywarp. I heard they're going to release a Cyclonus update that's a different color. I know they did a premium edition of Scourge. I have a sweep. Yeah, it's not. It's the hand's different. It's the only thing that's different. Don't care. I'm okay with having a sweep and just pretending it's a Scourge, because does it really matter? There's not much. There's no change other than the hand, a different hand sculpt on one of them. That's the only difference. If it was like a different face sculpt or something, or different. You know, it's I have my masterpiece ones now. So like it's one of those things, you know. But like what's interesting, and I know I went on a little tangent there, but what's interesting about this Spotlight Optimus Prime is that it's $84 for 3 deluxe class figures. And that's probably why this is still available. While I think the concept is interesting, let me read this for you guys. Presenting Transformers Spotlight Optimus Prime, the ultimate Transformer collectible figure set, exemplifying mastery of the design and developmental process. With 3 deluxe scale Optimus Prime figures, this display-worthy trio represents the process of creating Transformer action figures, giving fans a window into the world of our designers and engineers. Over 160 integrated deco options, or LPS, I guess. It includes 3 figures, 9 accessories, and instructions. Figures scale 4.5 inches, which is about Transformers height now. They've kind of shrunk them a little bit. So here's what it is. So you get this is the most interesting thing. Transformers Spotlight. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool concept. It's a cool concept. So basically, you get what's called the gray model. From 2D vision to 3D model, the gray mold figure represents the first time that a design plan and CAD drawing begins to come to life in 3D. So basically what they did is they took an Optimus Prime design, which looking at this, I originally was under the impression that this might have been like just another mold, like one of the like Devastation molds, and it might be. I don't have that mold, so I couldn't tell you. The only Optimus Prime recent molds I have is the Studio 86 one, which this is definitely not it. And I have the War for Cybertron Earthrise mold, which is an old mold now, but it still holds up. So anyways, so they basically, they designed a new Optimus Prime. Okay, they designed a new design, and then they go, okay, so now it's prototype scale. And then usually they would print it, 3D print it, see if it works. And then once like the CAD, like, you know, CAD to 3D works, then it goes in, then they create the molds. And basically when the molds come out, this is what it is. This first image. It's great. It's basically has no paint, has no deco, nothing. Sometimes, now, this is a little misleading because they generally do not paint their figures. So essentially this is supposed to represent like the 3D printing model, not like the mold the first time. But that's what this is. This is when they release the figure in the mold, like when they put the molds together and they print it and it's injected molding out of the machines. This is what it looks like. Not necessarily. It actually looks more like the prototype, which is a little different. But because the prototype, we'll get to that in a second, but usually they print like the gray plastic. The parts that are going to be gray is printed in gray plastic. The parts that are going to be blue are printed in blue plastic, and the stuff that's going to be red is printed in red plastic. And if they have to add printing like applications like eyes or like Autobot symbol, those are stamps. Like the Autobot logo is a stamp. Any kind of deco that can easily be stamped onto the plastic is stamped, and then the eyes might be painted because that's a little bit hard to actually like deco those like with the stamp machine. But the reason I bring that up because that's basically what this is. This is like they printed. I shouldn't say printed. They injection molded a figure out all in gray plastic when they normally don't do that, but it's supposed to represent when they do a 3D CAD model and then they 3D print it. And this is how they 3D print it because they're not going to waste time with color. They don't need color at this point. They just need to see that it's functional and that it works for the most part, which is actually the prototype that's actually supposed to do that. Usually the prototype is not colored, and there's several different, it depends. There's several different aspects of prototyping. Sometimes prototypes are not colored at all. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they're roughly colored. A lot of times, so basically what's going on here is they're representing the gray model, which is supposed to represent when they take the 2D model into 3D model, and it's basically 3D printed from CAD. That's what this is. The second one is the prototype. Imperfections created, the prototype figure renders and molded colors, which is what I was just talking about, obviously, represents the expensive testing our tooling and molds go through to ensure the highest quality. well, I don't know about the highest quality, but highest quality for a Hasbro figure these days. And not that I shouldn't crap on them, because they do have some pretty good figures. But essentially, you can see here that, and it's got the number here because that's like the stamp number, like which prototype it is, because they do go through several prototypes. Like for example, the ball joints in the knees aren't, or the head doesn't stay on, or there's an issue with the transformation. So, but these all are basic. What's interesting is that these are all finished products. They just printed. They just gave you a finished product, but didn't paint it and didn't print it in the plastic and gave you the 3D mold, right? The gray mold. And the prototype is also the finished product, but they also purposely didn't put any of the paint decos on. It's printed 100% only in the plastic that he would have printed it on, and then they just gave you this like fake little stamp. Now, I'd be kind of curious because the stamp says TF1984, which assumes like a serial number. I wonder if that's what everyone has, or if like everyone that's printed has a different number. I don't think that would be, because that would create like a one-on-one of everything, so it's probably the same in all of them. But this technically has deco that's painted on. That's a stamp. And then the final one, which is kind of crazy, and it comes with this like cool like little display box. I think the display box is cool. I would probably, if I were actually going to get this, I would probably put it in, I probably wouldn't open it. It would just be like in the display box and I would just open it. But they don't, but here's what's crazy about this deco. This is like 3D printed like extreme deco that they don't do. They don't do these. They don't. Like so this is that top one right here. This is like that cell shading that I don't think Hasbro ever does. This is extreme. So essentially the money is going to this. And while I think it's interesting that they painted this like yellow, if this, I would have preferred the axe with like the slash to have been translucent plastic personally. And then the gun looks kind of small. And I don't know what kind of Optimus Prime this is supposed to be. And then of course here they are in all their vehicle modes. So you can see how that kind of rolls out. And I think I personally am not a fan of the cell shading. Like when it came to like, I think NECA did like those turtle figures and they did them in cell shading. I didn't like it, so I didn't pick any of those up. And I know some people buy, I know there's just deco sets you can buy, or Transformers that gives you like that deco, like the windows, and a lot of people do it for like the windows and stuff like that, for like Optimus Prime, the headlights and like the door frames and everything. But here's the thing, the window here is not painted. You see that right here? The little side window is not painted. So they did all this paint on this thing. They went completely crazy, and they didn't paint that. And the only thing I can think of why it's not painted is because it would look weird in robot mode and not be accurate. Because, you know, they're not going to do, like, what are they not going to do? And then here's the box. I don't know, guys. It's a cool concept, but the execution, I think, is not there. Now, had this been, like, the Studio Series figure, and they did this, and they charged like say maybe like $120 for it, and they did like a cell shaded like accurate color, completely decoed like beyond what they ever do Optimus Prime, and then gave you the three, they did that, I think that'd be really cool. Let me know in the comments down below if you think I'm overstretching it there to say that this should have been the Studio Series version, or even you could even argue, I would even go as far as saying like the Earthrise mold, like re-release the Earthrise mold. You know, I don't know, but this is a new mold. This does look like a unique new mold. I don't think this is not the Devastation mold. This does look like a new mold. And I know the Devastation mold, I think, does have some of that kind of like color deco cell shading going on with it. I think I'd have to look at it again if my mind's kind of like blank when it comes to Optimus Primes, because there's so many of them out there. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think. I honestly, like, I don't know anybody who would get this. So I couldn't even take a look. I couldn't even like begin to say like later on take a look at it. And I'm definitely not gonna spend like $100 to buy this, like, or $85. I'm not gonna buy it. It's just not. And it's funny I say that because Optimus Prime is one of my favorite characters, and I have a lot of different molds of Optimus Prime. But like there are like I don't have MP44, I don't have MP10, I don't have the MPG one they just did. I don't have the Devastation Prime. I don't know. Like I think I'm kind of like. It's weird to say that I think I've collected every Optimus Prime mold that I think I need. The only Optimus Prime mold that I'm really waiting on is to see what Unique Toys does with the '07 model. But beyond that, I don't, and I might not get that depending on like with their track record right now with Unique Toys. I may not get that mold, even though I have pre-ordered it. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you think of this? Do you think this is interesting? Did you get it? You know, I don't know who this is for. I really don't know who this is for. I think it's a cool concept for the anniversary and all that fun stuff, but I think it just misses the mark. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Check out this video right here. And as always, guys, until next time.